Hi there. Today we're going to have a look at the minimum wage. What the 1999 minimum wage, which was £3.60, what that bought you, and how that compares to today's minimum wage in 2019 of £8.21. We're going to compare the two. Enjoy. So let's start off. Let's have a look at milk. In 1999, an average pint was 34 pence, which will give you 10.5 pints for an hourly wage. And in 2019, 44 pence for a pint. Not that we buy milk in pints anymore, it's litres, but still. Anyway, you could get 18.5 pints for an hourly wage. So basically about 76% more, which is really good. Although I do feel sorry for the dairy farmers. I mean, they're being crushed by the supermarkets that are keeping that price low. I mean, as a dairy farmer, what else are you going to do? It's probably the only job you've ever done. I mean, what else are you going to do with a big field? Well, anyway, that's milk. So let's have a look at bread. White bread, to be specific. In 1999, an average loaf was 51 pence. So you could buy 7.05 loaves for your hourly wage. And today, a loaf on average is about £1.06. And you can buy 7.74 loaves for your hourly wage. So you have a nice little increase of 0.69 loaves there for your hourly wage. That's nearly 10% more. Not as good as milk, but it's pretty good. Okay, let's have a look at gold then. So in 1999, minimum wage, you could have earned £7,488 based on a 40-hour week. And gold back then was £172.15 an ounce on average. So that would give you 43.5 ounces of gold for the year. Okay, compare that today. An average, I mean, we're only in November, but the average price of gold for an ounce so far this year is £1,087, and that would bring in 15.7 ounces of gold. Not that it's very realistic that you could put all your money into gold, but just to compare the two. I mean, basically, you're getting 27.79 ounces less today than what you could have got back in 1999. That's about £30,000 less. I mean, minimum wage, if you were to put the whole amount into gold back then, in today's money, that would be worth just over £47,000. Okay, let's have a look at silver. And I think silver, to me personally, is much more interesting than gold. And it can be a beautiful piece of art in its own right, some of the lovely coins that you can get. In 1999, you could have bought, with your annual minimum wage, 2,080 ounces of silver, which in today's money would be about £26,000, or just over. In today's minimum wage, you can buy 1,355 ounces of silver. So 725 ounces of silver less today than what you could have bought. That's 35%. I thought this was really interesting. So when the minimum wage first started in 1999, the minimum wage was above 1 ounce of silver. And that carried on for the first 6 years or so. And then after that, every year, the minimum wage was less than the price of 1 ounce of silver. And that carried on, and it's never gone back since. Okay, one of my favourites, draft lager per pint. In 1999, it was £1.94. So if you like to go out for a couple of pints, it would take you 1 hour and 5 minutes to buy those 2 pints. In 2019, an average pint is £3.72, which means you can have a couple of pints on your minimum wage, and you'd have 77 pence change left over. And I think this just goes to show just how competitive pubs are trying to be these days. I mean, I don't think the culture is the same as it used to be back in 1999. There's not as nearly as many people going out drinking as there used to be. And in the UK now, one pub closes down every 12 hours, so I think they are struggling a bit there. Yeah, so unemployment, job seekers allowance. In 1999, it was £50.35 per week, which is basically just under 14 hours of minimum wage. and in 2019 it's £73.10, so just under 9 hours of minimum wage. So it's gone down quite considerably, 35% thereabouts. Council tax. So the average Band D council tax in 1999 was £798. You'd have to work 222 hours on minimum wage to pay for that. And in 2019, the average council tax is £1,750. So you'd have to work 213 hours to pay for that. So that's pretty good. You're a good 9 hours better off there. That's good. Okay, let's take a look at driving. Let's have a look at a car. Let's have a look at the Ford Fiesta. Now in 1999, the base model Ford Fiesta would have been the 1.3 Encore. It would have cost £7,500, so basically exactly 1 year's minimum wage. And for that, it would have been a 59 brake horsepower car, 0 to 60 in 15.9 seconds, and it did 39 miles to the gallon. And compare that to the 2019 base model Ford Fiesta, and that would be the 1.1 Trend, and that would cost just under 16,000. You'd basically be about 3 weeks, just under a year's wage basically, so you'd be about 3 weeks better off, but you'd get a much better car. This would be 85 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 13.8 seconds, and it would go 55 miles to the gallon. Much better car. Yeah, surprising. And now we have a car, we'll need petrol with it. And in 1999, a litre of petrol on average was 77 pence, and that would buy you 4.68 litres of petrol. And in 2019, the average price of a litre of petrol is £1.25, and you can buy 6.57 litres of petrol, so just under 2 litres of petrol more for the same minimum wage hourly rate. Not only that though, with your more efficient car, you're doing much more miles to the gallon than you used to, so quite a saving I think. Okay, let's have a look at electricity. Now the average consumption is 3,800 kilowatts per year, and in 1999 the average kilowatt per hour was 0.079 pence, which brought the bill to just over £300. And when you convert that to hours you'd have to work minimum wage in that year, you'd be working 83 hours to pay that yearly bill. And in 2019, the average cost of a kilowatt per hour is 0.203 pence. Your bill will be roughly £770. You'd now have to work 94 hours to pay your yearly bill. So it's gone up by about 11 hours, so a little bit worse off there. And lastly, but not least, is housing. And there's a very simple formula to work out the price of a 1999 home. You simply divide it by 3. So a £90,000 home today would have cost £30,000 back in 1999. And on minimum wage back then, that would have taken exactly 4 years to pay for that home. Obviously, it's not really possible, but just for the just to show the difference. In today's money, that's £90,000. And on minimum wage today, to pay for the exact same home, it would take 5 years and 14 weeks. 1 year and 14 weeks longer to pay for the same home, or 32% more. Basically, in conclusion, I think most things have got cheaper. But the biggest bills, the most expense that you've got is either rent or a mortgage buying a home. And if that's the biggest expense that you've got and that's gone up, it's basically wiped out any savings that you've made on milk, bread, petrol and everything else. So overall, I think we're about the same well off, unless you're a homeowner, in which case you're slightly better off. Thank you very much for watching today. Thank you and goodbye.